Okay, so my third game of the event was against the Tamarkan Chaos Dwarf list, and this was pretty interesting. My first game against the Forge World book, so I was real interested to see what my demons could do. Rumor has it that the Chaos Dwarves have some pretty nasty toys, so real interested to see how this game would turn out. So left side of my deployment, you can see I got 3 Scouting Nurgling bases, Solo Crusher, Solo Fiend, 5 Furies, my Fighty Bloodletter unit with the tooled up Herald and the full command, 5 Flamers, or 6 Flamers, sorry, with my level 2 Lightcaster, BSB's unit, Single Fiend, Big Papa, with single Blood Crusher all the way on the right. Okay, so the Chaos Dwarves, right? On his right, he's got this unit of Hobgoblins, and they're basically just, goblins with some kind of like funky animosity rules and 5-up save, something like that. Behind the building, he's got a unit of Chaos Dwarves with Hand Weapon Shield, I think. And basic Chaos Dwarves, they just have like a dwarf profile, except they're Strength 4. Which I think is a little ridiculous for their core, but apparently they're pretty expensive, so maybe it evens out, I don't know. But in that unit, behind the building, he's got his level 4, and this dude is rocking, I think he's got a 1-up or a 2-up save, a 4-up ward, he's got +5 to dispel, probably I think a 2-up flaming ward, and a scroll, and he's rocking fire magic, so he's got all the good spells from fire, like Fireball, Flame Cage, Flaming Sword, and then something else, Pure Bolts maybe, I don't really remember. But he's got the ones that count. And then next to the building, he's got another unit of Chaos Dwarf Warriors with great weapons, and he's got his BSB in there. His BSB is hard as nails too. He's got like a 2-up, 5-up or something like that. Tough 5, like dwarves usually are. All of his units, well, his 2 core units at least have 5-up flaming wards. And he's got 2 magma cannons in the back. These things are a little much, in my opinion. They got a 24-inch range, and he basically places the flame template anywhere with the end anywhere up to 24 inches away. Then he rolls an artillery dice, and that's where the shot lands. And they're Strength 5, and do D3 wounds, and force a panic check. So I don't know how much they cost, but they better be in like the 150 to 200 point range, because they're pretty heinous. And he's got a Hell Cannon, and then he's got this unit of Bull Centaurs, and these guys are pretty ridiculous. They're 2 attacks, Strength 4 with great weapons. That's not that bad, but they have a 3-up armor save, tough 5 with 3 wounds apiece. And honestly, I probably wouldn't have minded so much, but he's got they're monstrous beasts or monstrous cav, I can't remember which, but he's got them modeled on just standard cavalry bases, so I thought that was a bit kind of gamey and suspect. I realized that he's using the old models, but tough 5, 3 wounds, come on. And then that big ass thing he's got on the left is his destroyer, and this thing is no joke. Move 9, weapons go 5, strength 7, tough 6, 6 wounds, initiative 5, 5 attacks I think, and it's got plus D3 for frenzy. Lead 9 I think, but it's movement 9, and it's got a 4-up ward, a 2-up flaming ward, flaming attacks. I think it does a strength 4 hit on every enemy model and base to base at the beginning of combat. It's got to take a toughness test at the beginning of the turn, and if it fails, it takes some wounds. But man, that thing is just ridiculous for a bargain at 325 points. I didn't realize it was frenzied when we started the game though, so that might have influenced my decision on how to handle it. But anyway, so we go to Chaos Dwarf turn 1, and yeah, he doesn't move at all. I think Chaos Dwarves move even less than normal dwarves. So yeah, shooting, the Hell Cannon scatters off, and then he toasts some Bloodletters and drops one of his magma cannons onto my flamer unit and kills 2 flamers. Alright, so Demon turn 1. Basically, I just kind of move up all of my small units here to kind of distract the destroyer and just keep it as far away from my important stuff as possible. You can see I put Big Papa on the other side of the table for a reason. I don't want him anywhere near that thing. Even though he could probably use the signature Nurgle spell to bring down the beast, it's dicey, and I'd rather not take the chance that it could eat him in close combat instead. You see, I'm kind of being sloppy with my support units here, and I'm giving him some easy overruns, which is kind of dumb. Otherwise, just run at him as fast as possible. I move the flamers behind the bloodletters out of line sight of his magma cannons to kind of stop that from happening again. Yeah. And this is how the right side looks. Let's see. I don't think I get anything through meaningful in Magic. So oh, you can see here that in his first turn he moved his level 4's unit into the tower, and then in my Magic phase I did manage to get a Plague Wind through on the unit, and so they got Nurglings behind him and they're facing one of the magma cannons. So in his turn 2, he has his Destroyer charge the Nurglings, Hell Cannon into the Fiend, and the Centaurs into my Bloodletter unit. And you can see it's pretty self-explanatory, the stupid overruns I gave him. I really had a good thing going over here with all these support units, but I'm just kind of screwing myself by being sloppy about it. It throws the Hobgoblins kind of in my face to block Bloodletter unit number 2. And that's pretty much his movement. That's Magic. Real big thing that I stop everything, but except for a flame cage that he gets on my battle standards unit, which really sucks because even with magic resistance and their natural ward, in my experience from using flame cage on other people's bloodletter units, I know it tears them up a lot more than you think it would with that 4-up ward. So I just opt not to move them. Because I'm going to need, my bloodletter unit to be nice and big in the late game in order to take down the destroyer. Okay, so in combat you can see that he's grinding out my other bloodletter unit. Those centaurs are really nasty. Tough 5 with 3 wounds, and then since he's got him on that real small base size, he can get a ton of attacks on my Herald, which is, again, I wasn't too thrilled about. I think he should probably have him on 40s or 50s. But otherwise, Hell Cannon kills the Fiend and overruns into the Furies, and the Destroyer is actually took a couple wounds from my Nurglings and didn't wipe them out, so can't argue with that. So when we go to my next turn and take Big Papa, the Fiend and the Blood Crusher into the flank of the Hobgoblins. I need to get rid of that unit, but I can't use my Bloodletters to do it because they're flame caged up. After combat with the Bull Centaurs, I just reform that unit deep, and I move my Flamers back to the center of the line because he loses one of his magma cannons to a misfire, and then the other one is now in combat with my Nurglings, so my Flamers are safe to kind of move around. And then in Magic, I get another Plague Wind through on this Dwarf unit and generate some more Nurglings. You can see in combat, I wasn't able to grind out that Hobgoblin unit. I really can't. I'm not going to be able to break their Steadfast without without the Bloodletters, and I'm saving my Breath Weapon on the Great and Clean One for the late game. But otherwise, you can see his Hell Cannon continues to rampage and is now into my second Blood Crusher, which I placed to kind of discourage it from getting into the flank of the Bloodletter unit. Because I'm still kind of being optimistic. I'm hoping that with my light magic that unit of Bloodletters could come out on top in that fight, but it's really not looking like it. It's just tough 5 and 3 wounds. It's just taking way too long to get through. But otherwise, he just kind of moves. He's moving his. I think he declared a charge with his BSB's unit on the Flamers, or no, it was onto the bloodletters. He wanted to clip them and get some extra combat res. But they failed it, and then he pulls his general's unit out of the building. Because once I blow through the hobgoblins, it's not going to be safe for them anymore. The destroyer, I don't really remember what it's doing over here. I think it might still be fighting Nurglings, and that's just cracking me up. I think when all is said and done, my Nurglings do 3 wounds to the thing before it kills them all. So, yeah, that is awesome. Okay, so here, yeah, you can see he's his destroyer's done with the Nurglings, and he's about to bring it back towards the main fight here. Up top, my Nurglings are just, you know, fighting that magma cannon. I don't really care if they kill it, just as long as it's not shooting at me, because the thing is so nasty. Okay, we're just kind of stuck in these long, drawn-out combats. You know, his Hell Cannon kills my Blood Crusher and is going to flank my Bloodletter. So pretty much it's a given I'm going to lose that unit. And then I need to finish off the rest of the Hobgoblins. I'll do that next turn, and we'll see where we're at. Okay, so I declared a charge with... Well, what happened was a Great Unclean One killed enough Hobgoblins to not be in base-to-base anymore, and he's unable to get in. There's no way I can get him into base-to-base, so we ruled that he was out of combat now. So I charged his general's unit, who flees through the Nurglings, and I try to redirect into Bull Centaurs, but fail, because it's a really long charge. Otherwise, I pull my wizard out of the flamers, and I bring them over to kind of... I want them in the vicinity of the Hell Cannon and the Destroyer to kind of, you know, keep them from helping in on the Bloodletter fight. What I probably should have done, though, is I probably should have just conserved the points and let him have the Bloodletter, since he's going to get them anyway. So here we're looking at like that. Magic, I get another Plague Wind through on his general's unit and put the Nurgling base right behind him. Yeah, and you can see my Bloodletter Horde. He's been flame caging the same unit over and over again. And I think he gets 2 through, but I stop a couple. So anyway, they charge the Hobgoblins, so I'm going to get rid of them. Thank God. Okay, so after combat, getting rid of the Hobgoblins looks like that. Okay, so charges. I take my Great Unclean One and the Crusher and the Fiend into his unit of warriors. I think he jumped ship with his BSB and moved him into the other unit to be safe with his level 4. So this actually was probably the most crucial combat of the game right here. You can see that his dwarf unit is fighting a unit of Nurglings sitting on 1 wound to the front. Behind them, who just charged, is my general, and I put him there so that he get an overrun into his level 4's unit, who's also in combat from the Nurglings, who charged him in the rear. So basically, what I'm counting on is his dwarves taking the last wound off the Nurgling base, which is very possible. And then hopefully between my general, the Blood Crusher, and the Fiend, killing enough to break Steadfast, and then I'll get my general into his general's unit and be able to fight the combat again. But unfortunately for me, you can see that his dwarfs killed the Nurgling unit as planned, but I fluffed my Thunderstomp and I did not kill enough to break his Steadfast. So I went from a game-winning cascading charge to crap. What do I do now? I think he flame caged the Bloodletters again, so they're just hanging out, or you know, I could just be holding them back to deal with that Bull Centaur unit. The Destroyer's down here. I think he kills the Flamers and overruns or something. That's what he's doing down here. Okay, so yeah. Going into, I think this might be his last turn. He charges the Bull Centaurs into the flank of the Fiend and brings the Destroyer over here to try to get him into my Great Unclean One. But I am able to cast Miasma with my Great Unclean One, so that kind of neutralizes the threat from the Destroyer. In the combat, the Bull Centaurs easily kill the Fiend, and the Great Unclean One wipes out the Warriors. So I guess we're kind of in a situation where there are two different combats, so we allow the Bull Centaurs to overrun into my Great Unclean One. And then his General's unit obviously finishes off the Nurglings, and then up top, my unit of Nurglings up there finishes off the Magma Cannon. Okay, so in my turn, I go ahead and charge the Bloodletters into the flank of the Bull Centaurs, and make very short work of them, but you can see that at the end of the combat he has 1-on-1 wound that's fled through his general's unit. Since you flee center to center, he managed to escape through his general's unit, and yeah, that's like 500 points in that unit that just got away, so I'm kind of upset about that. But otherwise, here's how it's looking. Bloodletters are ready to take a charge from the Hell Cannon and the Destroyer, and because Big Pop has got Miasma up, so he's not taking either one of them anywhere near him. So he goes ahead and takes the Destroyer and the cannon into the Bloodletters. The Destroyer kills my Battle Standard Bearer, and then gets chopped up by the Bloodletters. And so going into his next turn, or no, my last turn, it looks like this. He blocks me with he takes his warrior unit, blocks Big Papa with it, and then he takes his BSB and his level 4 out of the unit, so I can't get him. At the end of the game, which is it's just a good tournament move by him, saving those points. So at the end of the game, it looks like this. I can't get the wounds, the points for the Hell Cannon. You can see his BSB's on 1 wound, but he gets away. I get the points for his warriors, but his level 4 and his Bull Centaurs are both still on the table. So even though he's got basically nothing left, he still has like I think like 1,200 points easy still on the table. So kind of frustrating, but it was nice to see what the new Tamarcon book has. Really tough. I think it's a little bit much, I think it's a great matchup for my Daemons. They definitely have the tools needed to take this army down, but seriously, what are Beastmen and Wood Elves supposed to do against this? Like, I don't understand. I don't think they used a lot of restraint when writing these rules, especially when you look at the Magic lore. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Take it or leave it. I hope you guys enjoyed the report, and I'll catch you guys later.